Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And in this video, I'm going to show you my top 5 favorite Waves plugins that I use on just about every mix, whether I'm working all in the box or whether I'm working a combination of analog and hybrid. I use these Wave plugins all the time. Most of these I've had full reviews on the channel, with the exception of a couple which we'll talk about. But I'll link them all in the description box below. So before we get started, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com because I want to give you a free mixing course that is right on the homepage, right at the top. Click on the orange button. It'll be emailed directly to your inbox. It's $100. It's my gift to you just for visiting Home Recording Made Easy. Stick around till the end of the video. I'm going to give you something else for free. Okay, here we go. So 5, right? I got 5 Waves plugins that I use all the time and I've been using them for years. I'm part of the Waves subscription plan. I have all their plugins, but these I seem to go back to all the time. Plugin number 1 is the CLA Epic. This is an amazing plugin. I didn't know I really wanted or needed a plugin like this until it came out. This plugin is great. I've been using this plugin ever since it came out. It's wonderful. I used to do exactly what this plugin does manually in my DAW, and I used to teach it. If you go back and look at some of the old videos, you'll see how I used to teach how I would mix vocals. And this is one of the things that I used to do, and they put it on the plugin, and this is great. Now, this plugin can look a little intimidating, and some people get a little turned off by it, but trust me when I tell you the presets in this thing are awesome. You can almost just use a preset and hardly ever have to tweak it, and it works. You don't have to dive under the hood. But if you're a dive under the hood kind of a guy or gal, you may like this. So what is this plugin? This plugin basically has delay and reverb all in one plugin. But more than just delay and reverb all in one plugin, it has 4 delays and 4 reverbs all in one plugin, emulating Chris Lord-Alge's hardware effect chain. And if you watch any of the videos on YouTube about how he shows you his effects with his reverbs and delays that come down to 8 stereo groups on his SSL console, he uses 4 delays and 4 reverbs, and he mixes and matches them depending on the song, and that's what this does here. So on the left-hand side, we have all of our delays here in blue. We have a tape, a throw, a slap, and a crowd, which is kind of a wide delay. And then on the right side here in red, we have all the reverbs. We have a plate, a room, a hall, and a space reverb, and you have individual faders on all of them, and you can blend them all together. You can solo and mute single ones depending on whatever you call for. You can use as many delays or reverbs as you want in any one particular instance. What I really like about this though, and something that I used to do manually with separate buses, separate aux tracks, and separate effects, was that you can use this little routing table here in the delay section, A, B, C, and D, where you can route and send the delay to a reverb, which is something that I like to do. So let's say you had a lead vocal and you wanted to put on that lead vocal, you wanted to put a little bit of tape delay, and then you wanted to maybe not have the throw on, but maybe a little bit of slap, and then maybe a little bit of crowd. And let's say on the reverb side, you wanted to have a plate and you wanted to have a hall only. So you can just mute the, mute this like this, and you have 2 of them here, A and C on the reverb. And if you wanted number 1 and number 3 on the delay, you can send those delays into those reverbs. So the way you would do that, if you wanted to send your tape delay into, let's say, your plate reverb, you come up to this little routing table, you click the letter A, and that will send the tape into the reverb, which is great. So you're putting some reverb on your delay. Or you can send the tape also to your at the same time, you can send it over to 2 different reverbs if you want. So this is a really powerful plugin where you have a lot of things that you can tweak here. You have modulation, all kinds of stuff. But here's the dirty little secret that I do with this all the time. I just pick a plugin. They got wonderful plugins here, especially the Chris Lord-Alge plugins are great. I use his vocal presets all the time. Great vocal presets where it's already set up to the way that he uses it, and it sounds great. I also, more times than not, will use this as an insert instead of a send, and just use the wet dry knob and turn down the wet dry knob and use it as an insert, which is pretty cool. You have a high pass, low pass filters on all the reverbs and delays. It's just a great plugin, okay? So I know I've spent some time talking about this one, but this one is really good. Honest to God, it could be the last reverb delay plugin you ever have to buy. I have others that I use, but when you want something like for vocals or some more complex stuff, this just makes it super super simple. So that is the CLA Epic. Again, look for Waves sales. I always put this stuff on sale. You could definitely get this for under $100 throughout the year. I would check that out. Hello, friend. I hope you're having a blast watching this video. Hey, I wanted to give you a heads up about my new website for my mixing services called mixingmusicanalog.com. I have a limited amount of spots each month to take on new clients, and I'm super excited to chat with you about your next project. And if you're a first-time client, you'll get a 25% discount. So be sure to click the link in the description, check out the website, and let's set up a Zoom call together to talk about your music. Now back to the video. Okay, plugin number 2 by Waves, another one of my favorites that I use all the time. This is an oldie but a goodie, RBass. Did a video of this on the channel years ago. Go check it out. I'll link it in the description if I remember. This is really cool. It's kind of a compressor expander, but if you actually sit down and read the manual for this thing, and I did that when I did the video, I actually read part of the manual to you guys in the video. What this does under the hood is it's got a lot of complex algorithms, and basically what it allows you to do with things like kick drums and bass guitars, it allows it to be heard more effectively, or more so on small speaker systems, earbuds, laptop speakers, Bluetooth speakers, those kinds of things. RBass is really great for that, and I use this all the time because you know how it is. If you're sitting in a room with big studio monitors and a subwoofer, you could crank up the kick drum, crank up the bass guitar, get that nice bass rattling in the room, or if you're in your car with a decent sound system. But when you put earbuds in, or you put headphones on, depending on the headphones, or you're listening to it on a Bluetooth speaker, you lose a lot of the low ends. RBass helps recover that. Again, how exactly is it done? You need to read the manual. It gets a little bit techie in there, but trust me, just dropping this on a bass track at its default setting automatically gives that thickness and that roundness to any bass, and same thing with kick drum. Again, check out the video on the channel. I use this all the time. This has been around forever, and it's just one of those plugins you're going to use, or you should be using if you're not using it already. So that's RBass. Number 3. Here's another one that I like here. They put this out a few years back. This is the EV2, the SSL channel strip. I love this thing. Now, Waves is one of the first companies that put out the channel strips, the SSL channel strips, way back in the day, and those are still available, and those were very popular and still are. And we're going back 20 years. They've updated and re-updated these several years ago to make them a little more accurate. They've updated the GUI, which looks great, and this thing just sounds great. Just like the CLA Mix Hub, which is an honorable mention that I didn't put in this list by CLA, that his SSL, that's a great plugin as well. But I really like this EV2. This is a really great SSL channel strip. I have lots of channel strips by different companies, and this is one of the better ones out there. And when I mix all in the box, I tend to like to use SSL because I'm an SSL guy, as you can tell, because I have an SSL console. I use this one an awful lot in my training courses and private training and those kinds of things. This is a great plugin. So if you haven't checked out the EV2, check it out. This one is very, very cool. So that's number 3. Number 4 is kind of a curveball. I bet you weren't thinking of this. Now, this is one I didn't do a review on the channel yet, but I will if enough of you guys ask me about it below. Here's another kind of a sleeper that people don't realize, but I use this an awful lot. This is the Bowauer Motion plugin, which is kind of a high-tech, movement panning kind of a thing. Again, they got some really great presets in here. I use this thing on keyboards, pianos, sometimes acoustic guitars, especially if it's like softly picked and arpeggiated. This is very, very cool to give you motion, as the title would suggest, to kind of get some movement in the track, okay? And this, you can have it go circular, so it feels like it's going in front of you and behind you. You can have it just go left to right in a very slow panner. It's an auto panner on steroids is what it is. Again, a lot of different parameters and things you can do. It can get a little geeky and a little overwhelming, but just like with the CLA Epic, they got a lot of great presets. A lot of great presets by some famous engineers, Greg Wells, Dave Ponsato, Tony Maserati, and others. And they also have a bunch of factory presets here, and what I find is just going through and picking a preset or two and then slightly tweaking it is always really, really great. Again, a lot of times I'll use this as an insert, and I will use the mix knob here and to do that, and you'll see in the graphic as I turn the mix up and down, and you'll see the panner as I move. Will this change as I move? No, I think I got to pick a preset. But anyway, you can have one panner working, you can have them both working at the same time, you can alternate back and forth. This is a really cool plugin. Check this one out. Again, it's a very subtle effect, at least the way I use it, but it's very effective, and it could just add some movement and some interest to a static kind of a track. Like you have a certain element or certain instruments in your mix that you want to give a little bit of interest, a little bit of a sonic interest. I use this awful lot. Bowauer Motion, check it out. It's kind of cool. Read the manual if you really want to understand more about it. And then number 5 is the new one here by Waves. This is the Waves Curves Equator. This is, I guess, similar to a Soothe 2, which I love and I've been using for a long time, trying to take out harshness out of track and resonant frequencies. What I like about Waves Curves Equator over Soothe 2 is that they have an AI learn function where you can play the track back and it can give you some suggestions. And that's usually pretty good. Sometimes you have to tweak it from there. It seems a little bit more simplistic than the Soothe 2 interface. You have some advanced controls here, kind of a multi-band thing, which is kind of cool. Again, you can do things in a tilt kind of a way. You can shape things in a different way. It gives you a lot of control here. And again, if you have harsh guitars, harsh overhead cymbals, even things like harsh vocals or things that maybe just have some of those harsh resonant frequencies, Curves Equator can be really, really cool. Again, I've only used it a handful of times since it's come out because I'm always defaulting to Soothe 2, but the more I use it, the more I like it, and it's become one of my favorite Waves plugins. So that's 5, and I'm going to give you one other as a bonus here. Here's another one that just came out, which is an ARA plugin. I want you guys to check this out. This thing is freaking fantastic, and this is Vox Sync. Is that what they call it? Sync VX, which is an easy way, a super easy way to align vocals or any tracks, but vocals in particular. So you have a lead vocal, let's say a bunch of background vocals, and things are sometimes not too tight or a little out of sync, right? This thing does a wonderful job locking them in place. Very similar to Vocal Align, actually almost identical to Vocal Align, a lot of the same features. I have Vocal Align Pro, but I gotta tell you, this is far easier to use, way easier. In my mind, Vocal Align took me a while to wrap my head around it and to get it to work, and sometimes it was a little finicky, at least for me. This thing from the day I got it was perfect. It is about as simple can be, and you can do things where you can lock things and you can adjust the timing and how tight you want things. You can adjust the pitch so you can match the pitch of a background vocal to the lead vocal, all of that stuff. It's really, really cool here. And again, it's very, very simple. They have some factory presets and stuff. You can save presets and save chains. Again, this is not used as an insert. It's an ARA style plugin, and most modern DAWs today support that. In Studio One, it's used as an event effect. But definitely check this out. When this came out, I jumped on it right away, and I found it so much easier than Vocal Align. So I dig this one an awful lot. So those are my top 6. I threw a bonus in for you. My top 6 Waves plugins that I use all the time. I use them on 99% out of 100 mixes I do. Multiple of the plugins we talked about today are somewhere in the mix. So I want to hear from you. What are your favorite Waves plugins? Which ones do you like? What are your top 5? List them below for me. Let me know. And if you want to see more full demos, proper demos on any one of the 5 that I mentioned today, leave it in the comments below. And enough of you suggest I do that, I will absolutely do that for you. So I want to thank you once again for sticking around till the end of the video. So as I said at the beginning, for all the newcomers here, I want to give you something else for free. Go out to that homerecordingmadeeasy.com and I want you to get that free $99 mixing course right on the homepage. Click it, email address goes right to your inbox. Nothing to buy, nothing to sign up for. You now get a free mixing course. Take that course. If you like my style of teaching and you want to take one of my other courses on my website, and I have everything from beginners, intermediate, advanced, recording, mixing, and mastering, and so much more. Any course on the website, I want to give you a 25% discount coupon code. That coupon code is YouTube25. Put that in at checkout. It will take 25% off any training course on the website. All the information for everything we talked about in this video will be in the description box below. And until the next video, where we talk about some of my more favorite plugins by other companies. I have other companies I like too. I'm going to show you some of those. I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Thank you so much for watching me, everybody. I'll see you guys in the next video.